One.
two. Good. Okay. So my name is Jogis. I'm actually from Osh, but now live in Bishkek. I am really actually happy to meet all of you in this hangout, I would say. And I made an announcement on my Instagram that we would be meeting up with some girls who studied abroad, really cool ladies. In the normal world, we would probably meet somewhere in a cafe or restaurant, but I'm glad that we have this online platform where we can meet and chit chat. So because I work in education and I have a company that is about studying abroad, we help students apply and basically with the whole process, and then we help students go abroad. We send them to various programs, short-term language and university degree programs as well. And I'm really, really curious about stories, right? Like success stories of people who have studied abroad, who have done some career in the field that they're interested in. And I would love to hear your stories because you each have a very unique and different story. And you are where you are probably also because of your education, maybe partially, maybe more than that. So yeah, I would love to start with some questions and then maybe you answer in terms. My questions will be basically about why did you decide? Because not everybody maybe has this motivation, right? Some people may think like, oh well, it's pretty cool out here. Why should I go somewhere else? And how did you apply? So that if you can remember your process, how what was, because the reality then was very different from the processes that our students undergoing now. And probably if you can recall some of the best moments, the best things about the studies abroad, some challenges that you've had, and thanks to study abroad, like what opportunities were you exposed to, what people were you exposed to, what ideas that you probably wouldn't otherwise when you if you stay back home. And at the end, probably your advice to aspiring young people, or to those who may be thinking of studying abroad but I'm unsure. So yeah, let's kick off, and whoever wants to start, there you go. Aika, maybe?
So basically, for those who didn't hear well, the question was tell about your education.
So first, why? Yeah, why did you decide to apply? And we can go one by one. One question by one.
So, yeah, why did I decide to go abroad? Is to get international education because I always thought European education is prestigious, it's great, it's better than that in my country, at least at that time. It was in 2006 that I applied and I finished school. So I thought it would be great to have European diploma. And that's why I applied, basically.
Cool. And Lucy?
Sorry?
And Lucy, so we'll go one by one. Yeah.
Okay. First of all, I wanted. I didn't want to do studying after school. I wanted just to go abroad and have my experiences. And to study abroad, it was just like pretext.
What again?
Aika, pretext. Pretext.
Practice.
Is the
I don't know.
le prétexte.
Yes, it's like a pretext.
Okay. I have no idea what it is, but we'll figure it out.
For me, studying abroad was just a pretext to go abroad, because you can't go abroad with
like that.
Like that, yes. And that's why I choose. I didn't think about what work I want to do, who I want to be. I wanted to just just study, and I studied literature because it was very general. And I thought that studying something that you like afterwards would open you other opportunities. You can choose, then you can choose what you like. For example, to choose economica for me, I was not good in maths, for example. I was not good at school. That's why I choose something general, sure that I liked, because I was not задрот. Как будет задрот?
Like a botanist or like a nerd?
Nerd.
I want to say a nerd, maybe.
Yes, I was
a Russian
not
version of a
nerd.
botanist, yeah.
So you didn't like
You probably are now, though.
Yes, I was because of that I was not nerd. I couldn't choose something like very serious studies, you know.
Okay.
Like medicine, doctor, or economic, or it was not me.
I see. Okay. And Regina?
Regina?
I hope she's here.
I'm not sure.
Well,
maybe she can join us later. She can respond later.
Yeah, maybe she's busy. Yeah, she's happy to meet you. Yeah. So, my next question is, how did you apply? But also before your application, how did you decide on where you want to go? Like, because you went to different universities in different countries, how did you decide it's supposed to be this country, this city, or this university? Oh, well, and eventually this program. And how did you apply?
Well, I did my studies in France, and I'm currently living in France. And why did I choose France? Is because of one travel I did with my high school when I was 11, 12 years old. It was an exchange program where we, as a group of Kazakh students from Almaty, went to Rennes in the north west of France for a trip. It was a 2-week trip to Rennes and Paris, and there I lived in a French family. I went to French college, so I was exposed to this new culture for me. And at that time I didn't speak French at all. I couldn't even say when we were like having dinner with my French family, I couldn't even say, can you please pass the salt, you know, or bread. I couldn't say simple words, but somehow like I survived, we understood each other. And when I came back, I was motivated to study French more and more. I was really in love with Paris, with all its beautifulness, culture, you know, and I loved the country, I loved the people. And from then on, I started studying hard the language. And then I thought, I'm quite good at languages, so maybe I should continue studying French and English because that would open doors for me. And then I thought, well, everyone else is going to England, and in England, well, the tuition cost may be high. So why don't I go to France? In France, the tuition fee is almost nothing. It was like 200, 300 euros a year. So when I applied, I got accepted, and I was really happy about it.
How did you choose a university and the program?
I've chosen l'Université Lumière Lyon 2 University, and I studied Administration économique et sociale, which is studies about like management studies, social administration, you know, studies very general.
Was it difficult to apply? How was the process?
Can you repeat, please?
Was it difficult to apply? Like, how was the process for you?
Well, I applied by myself. At that time, I was in Alliance Française. It's a French institute for French language in Almaty, where I was having classes, and my French teacher advised me to go to Lyon because it's a great town. It's big, it's very young, there are a lot of students, great universities, and they helped me also with applying. So Alliance Française helped me with applying, and I prepared the all the documentation. I translated it from Russian and Kazakh to French, and I also had to pass an exam, test de connaissance de français, and I had a good grade, so that helped me to get in, basically.
Wow, wow. And Lucy?
And me also, I made this trip when I was in high school, and also I loved it because it was very different from Kazakh school. In Kazakh school, I was very asocial, and I didn't feel myself very good. And when I went to there in the school, I had a lot of friends. I loved the country and the как сказать, это ambiance.
Ambient environment.
Ambience, okay. I like the ambience, and yes, my goal was to go to France, but as I said to you, I didn't was a good student, a serious student who studies a lot. I failed the TESF. I failed
the language test.
Yes, I failed language test, and I was very unhappy, disappointed. Yes, and then I said that I wanted to go, even if I'm not serious student, I want to go abroad. And then my mother said me, okay. You can, and my mother found with Alliance there were courses of French in Sorbonne. 1 year, 1 year of courses, 2 hours in a day, and then you can try to repass this TESF. And I made these courses. And then I tried, and I had a good result. And yes, I studied in Sorbonne University, and well, it was like that.
Cool. So your parents actually chose chose the school for you, and then they helped arrange everything.
Yes, with Alliance. Alliance said that yes, there are also. And we were 3 girls, me, Elena, and Bibi Gul, 3 girls from Kazakh who went in France with nothing for these courses. And Alliance, he promised us a lot of things, but finally they didn't do anything. And when we came, we didn't have a home, we didn't have the place to live. We had nothing.
Oh, wow. Adventure.
It was a very crazy experience.
Wow. And
do you remember, Aika? You came.
Yes, we were struggling to find an apartment, right?
Very, very crazy experience of.
Yeah, especially in a huge town like Paris.
Yes.
Challenge.
2, 3 girls, 18 years old.
Without
parents, without university, without home.
Oh my God. Wow. And Regina, if you're here, if not, we'll move on. I guess we'll move on, right?
Mm.
So what were the best things that you received, that you obtained from your study abroad experience, which you otherwise would not have if you stayed in Kazakhstan? Like, what were the things that the study abroad experience gave you?
Well, as for me, it's definitely like international exposure. I wouldn't have met that many people from different countries if I were in Almaty, for sure. In fact, I used to study 1 year at KIMEP, which was also not bad, but most of students are still Kazakh and Russians, and we didn't have as much big international community there. So that was something I was missing, you know. I was always
Did you do your exchange in Kazakhstan while studying in France?
Before going to France, after high school, I spent 1 year in KIMEP University.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was always interested in, surrounding myself with international people from all over the world. And in France, I met so many people from like everywhere: the US, Korea, Thailand, Morocco, Tunisia, England, Canada, so this international exposure opened my eyes like to the world. It gave me a lot of new friends as well. Also studying abroad gave me another way of how to say, of studying. Like I should only rely on myself, like
independent.
Yeah, I was completely independent, and I was responsible for myself. I had to succeed, you know, and I was serious. So at the age of 18, quite young, I had to start thinking on my own, you know, taking responsibility and being independent.
Right. Lucy?
For me, for example, I said you that I was not serious pupil, but in France, when I came in France, I was not serious pupil because I didn't see a lot of possibilities. And when I came in France, I became very serious pupil as a student because it was very interesting to study in another language. The subjects were very interesting. I just погрузиться, как сказать,
immersed yourself.
Yes, I just immersed myself in studying, and I couldn't stop it now, and this is the most beautiful thing that I could discover in studying abroad, because the system is another, because when you are at school in Kazakhstan, every time teachers, they scream at you that you are stupid, that you will never succeed, you will every time you hear it. And when I came in France, I saw that everybody wanted to help me. The professors were very nice. They could they wrote my essay, and they were very serious in transmitting the knowledge. And there were also doctorants, students who in France it is tutorat Aika.
Yeah. So they did tutoring to support you in your studies.
Yes, to support other pupils, students who are on bachelor, and it was an opportunity for me, and I used all these proposals that gave me for a French university.
Oh, wow. And what were the problems that you had? Well, I heard of the story with looking for an apartment, which sounds just crazy. But what were the other difficulties that you faced while you were studying abroad? Did you feel homesick, maybe?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, in the first probably 3 months, I've been crying nonstop, alone in my studio in Lyon. I did not know almost no one. Just one person I knew, I think, and that's all. So I felt really alone, really homesick. I was every day on the phone with my family, who supported me, fortunately. So it was very important for me at that time, to get support from my family, because not only I felt alone, I also felt not understood, and I couldn't understand anyone. I mean, not anyone, but my language level was not as high as it is today. So now I speak fluently language, but at that time it wasn't the case. So
It was challenging.
yeah, it was really challenging.
Wow. And Lucy?
And for me, no, it is not the same experience, because when I came, I said you that we were three girls, and every time we were three, and every time we met another people,
were together.
We go into night clubs, and we met a lot of people, different people, and it was very fun.
But did you have any challenges or problems? I don't know, maybe with finding maybe part-time job or
afterwards, but not yes. Afterwards, I had the problems. Yes, to find a job. Yes, it was a little bit a problem, but I found a job. I was nurse. I was a nurse, and really, and to study. Yes, maybe to find my work. It was a problem to find your work, your first work.
Well, even the challenge was to open a bank account at first, you know, do all these administrative things you have to do when you arrive to a new country, you know.
And it's all in French.
Yeah, and you should be accompanied by another person, a local or a person who speaks well the language and who understands all these banking issues, you know. So even like taking appointment could be a challenge at first, you know.
Have you had to visit a doctor while you were studying? And how was it like? How difficult? Because it's all in French, right?
Do you mean in general or in my first year?
Probably in general, maybe in the first year, because it's usually more difficult, but like getting an appointment and visiting a doctor, like how difficult it can be for a student studying abroad, how it was for you.
Well, first finding a good doctor could be difficult, so it's better ask for recommendations. So don't hesitate to ask your friends who their doctors are, so you could take an appointment with a good doctor. And then obviously, yeah, it's not your country, not your type of probably environment, so you don't feel comfortable really, but you have to overcome it. And even if you don't understand something, don't hesitate to ask questions. Well, from my memory, all the appointments were fine. I mean, I didn't have any health issues, thank God. I was not hospitalized, no operation, nothing. So just little, you know, doctor's appointments with after a cold or a flu or something.
What is there happening, Lucy?
Yes, I'm with you, but I will go to a shop because because it will be closed all Saturday and Sunday.
Ooh, okay. I'll try to wrap up quickly. So,
but I'm with you. I'm with you.
Okay. So if you can complete the sentence, what if I'll say, if I didn't go to France and study at this university, right? Your university where you've been, I would not have this. I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't see this, and I wouldn't. So what kind of opportunities basically you had, you gained, you obtained thanks to your experience in studying abroad?
Well, personally, I wouldn't probably travel that much. I wouldn't have international friends all over the world. I wouldn't have a European diploma. I wouldn't have. I wouldn't find a job later here in Europe. I wouldn't be able to go for internship